of the Singapore Evolution Club, an intellectual circle initiated by Dr. Sidney Brenner, one of the Nobel laureate founders of molecular biology, who is here with us today as well. Sidney, greetings and welcome. My name is Balázs Gulyás, and I am Professor of Translational Neuroscience at NTU, and I will be the chair, as one of the founders of the Singapore Evolution Club, of today's meeting. And it is my honor to introduce to you the speakers, to two guest speakers and the moderator. But first and foremost, let me introduce to you our founder, the founder of the Singapore Evolution Club, Dr. Sidney Brenner. And in this regard, I know that he doesn't like it. I would like to show you very shortly a very short
come to what I want to say. And the best way I can say it is to tell you about a letter I received. Nobel Prize winners get many letters. This was from a student in China. And he said, "Dear Dr. Sidney Brenner, I wish also to win a Nobel Prize. Please tell me how to do it." So I have been considering a reply, and although it's not finalized, this is roughly what it'll be. So, dear Chinese student, first you must choose the right place to work in, and you must find someone who is a generous sponsor for your work. For example, you could try Cambridge and the Medical Research Council. Then you need to discover the right animal to work on. For example, you could try a worm. You know, a worm with possibly a name like C. elegans. Then you need to choose excellent colleagues who are willing to join you in the hard work you will need to do. They could have names like John Sulston, Robert Horvitz, and of course you must make sure that they can find other colleagues and students to help them in the hard work that lies ahead. Finally, and this is most important, you must select the right Nobel Committee. It must be enlightened and very appreciative, and must have an excellent chairman whose discernment is totally unquestioned. And if you do this, you can be brought to the point where, on behalf of all your colleagues, you can thank everybody for the opportunity to be present here and make this speech. Thank you very much.
So the concept of the whole series, also called as 10 on 10, the Chronicle of Evolution, as formulated by Dr. Brenner, is a journey through evolution, from the origin of the universe to our days alongside a logarithmic scale, starting with approximately 10 to the 10th year, or in other words, 10 billion years or so. And as John Barrow, one of our first lecturers, mentioned, probably 13.9 billion years, the time when the Big Bang happened, and going to 10 to the 9th, or in other words, 1 billion years, the origin of life, then 10 to the 8th year, the origin of multicellular organisms, followed by complex organisms. So this was the first lecture, as you may remember, 2 months ago, when we started with the Big Bang and the origin of the universe, followed a month later by 2 other lectures on the origin of life on Earth. And here we are today, the third of this series, when we will talk about the origin of multicellular organisms and complex organisms on Earth. The two pioneers of the field who will talk today are coming from Europe. And let me introduce them one by one respectively before their talks. However, before we go further, I would like to call your attention to the next lectures, the next 7 lectures in this series. So the Chronicle of Evolution will continue throughout the year. One lecture event every month with 2 lecturers, and in the next stages we will cover the origin of fish. Wenke is here with us, our next lecturer. The origin of mammals by John Long from Flinders University. And we will continue in June, and we will discuss the origin of humans, early humans and hominids, and so on and so on and so on, until December, when we will conclude about what is evolution and how the theory of evolution developed throughout its 160 plus years of history. I kindly ask you at this stage to check regularly the website and register in good time. And as the next 2 lectures will be relatively close to each other in time, please register at the same time for both lectures. I would also like to call your attention already now to a very special lecture in June, which will be an extraordinary lecture within our series given by the Royal Astronomer, Lord Martin Rees, on the future of universe in the Science Museum of Singapore in Marina Bay, second half of June. Exact date and time will be given on our website. And just an anecdotal note, when I discussed this lecture with Martin in the Athenaeum Club in London, he told me, "Oh, why don't I give a lecture about the death of universe?" And I said, "Martin, will it not be a bit too pessimistic a lecture?" Okay, in this case we will talk about the future of the universe. So I very much hope this will be not a pessimistic lecture by Sir Martin Rees.